Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest installment of Real History. I am your host, history professor Jared Frederick, and I thought I would do something a little bit different in this episode as well, because it just so happens that the trailer for the most recent Indiana Jones movie has dropped. And indeed, this isn't your typical history film. We can't quite nitpick it as much as we would a lot of other history movies, but you'll just have to bear with me in the sake of pure nostalgia.
I'm making this up as I go.
The Indiana Jones movies, of course, are always set during historical time periods, going previously from the 1930s through the 1950s. We've progressed another decade or so, and I believe the latest installment is set in the year 1969. And so I haven't taken a look at the trailer yet. I saw a few still photos from it, and I'm really looking forward to taking a look at this for the first time. I was very tempted to look at it earlier, but I have resisted thus far. So join me as I take a look at the trailer for Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. I have no idea what that means yet, but I'm sure we'll find out. It looks like we're back in the desert here, perhaps in the Middle East or North Africa. Oh, he's still up to his physical shenanigans, although he's semi-retired now, so it would seem. Ooh, some underwater exploration. Still living the life of a professor. Man after my own heart. Oh wow, the Nazis are back. Oh wow. Oh, you're chasing trains and planes and the Luftwaffe and all that sort of good stuff.
Perhaps.
Is this who I think it is?
Perhaps not.
Sala! He's back! Oh, I'm so happy.
I don't believe in magic. But a few times in my life.
Good showdown with a Nazi on top of a moving train. Oh my god, he's young again! Flashbacks, anti-aircraft, Antonio Banderas. Oh, Mads Mikkelsen. Oh my god!
I believe it's not so much what you believe.
A chase here. New York City, perhaps? I think I may have a guess on where and when that might be. That's more Nazi sidecars on motorcycles back. Indy's always at his best while he's fighting Nazis. Oh, that looks like the nose of the Millennium Falcon. Probably a World War II bomber more so. Oh yeah, head on with a subway in New York City on horseback. So still an air of the absurd. He still has it with the lip. Oh, that definitely reminds me of the scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark where he pulls the gun on the guy who brandishes the sword. It looks like the shoe's on the other foot here at this point. All right, so some initial reaction to all this. I think this is a really fascinating dynamic when we consider everything at play here, because it appears that the film will be set in both the 1940s and, if my calculations are correct, around 1969 or 1970. And I think this is a wise move on the part of the filmmakers, because in a lot of regards, I think that Steven Spielberg kind of missed the boat in the early 1990s. I think audiences wanted a movie that was set formally during the years of the Second World War. And some conversations in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull hint at this. It alludes to the fact that Indy was behind enemy lines, he was doing top secret stuff, he was probably an officer with the Office of Strategic Services during that time. And I also think it's wise because, of course, Indy is now pushing 80 years old. He's probably wouldn't be up to quite as many physically driven adventures as he was in the past. And so I think it is wise to balance that idea of past and present. Now, one of the big questions is, what is this Indy movie set in 1969 going to cover? And perhaps the one scene with the parade offers us a little bit of indication. I would probably bet my last dollar that parade is one of the homecoming parades for the Apollo 11 astronauts, this goodwill tour that they embarked on all across the United States and the globe in the summer of 1969. That would probably be my educated guess as a historian. We will see if I'm right when we go to the theaters. I think something else that would be kind of fun is if its storyline merged with that of a really freaky 1970s thriller called The Boys from Brazil. And look up that film, because it's all about little Hitlers being cloned in South America who plan to take over the world. It's a real jaw-dropping performance by Gregory Peck, who plays Joseph Mengele. And so it would be kind of interesting if it merged with that sort of storyline, as the hunt for Nazis continue into the 1960s and the 1970s. And perhaps another point of storyline crossover is the fact that Nazis were very much involved in the space race and the long-term aftermath of Operation Paperclip. These are just a few of the narrative possibilities that might appear in Indiana Jones 5. So we will ultimately see. And I'll be certainly taking a look at this through my typical historical lens, although not with the same level of detail, of course. But I will be having my historically minded cap on nonetheless, because after all, Indiana Jones, fellow professor, fellow history-minded individual, fellow individual who despises Nazis.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
That is ultimately what he would want me to do. So, we'll offer some more feedback on this in the coming months, perhaps after we see it. And we hope that you enjoyed this little bit of fun nostalgia here on Real History as well. Until we see you next time, stay curious.
Next week, Egyptology, starting with the excavation of New Crates by Flinders Petrie in 1885. I will be in my office if anybody's got any problems for the next hour and a half.